Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Note Closer Show. As always, Scott Carson, your host here. Excited to be with you today. I am always honored and always excited to have our guest on today, who's his company's not only a sponsor of the podcast, but he's just a brother from another mother that we just absolutely love hanging out with. One of our favorite people to spend time with, whether it's here or in person or at a conference or just hanging out, having fun and talking life and business and all that good stuff. It's our good friend, Aaron Young, the Unshackled owner, podcast host, and the big head honcho over at Laughlin Associates out there, who's been helping entrepreneurs for 40 plus years by putting together their books and helping them create entities and doing asset protection, all that amazing stuff if you're an entrepreneur, which I know you are here in Note Nation, whether you're listening to us on iTunes or all the ways that you can listen to podcasts or those out in our nationwide network of syndicated radio stations across the country. We are honored that you're here today, Aaron, and just absolutely excited to talk about what we're talking about today, man.
Hey, it's always fun to be on this show, and I'll tell you why. Because we both do a lot of interviews. We both interview other people, and we're interviewed. And when I'm with you, it's kind of like being in the family room a little bit. It's like just hanging out with my buddy, and it's always ends up being a much more relaxed, kind of fun conversation. And with you and me, we never know where it's going to go. So,
you know what? That's the thing. We get feedback from our listeners. And I was recently in San Diego, and we had an ex-LPGA professional who was at a podcasting event that I was at. And she's like, "Oh, I listened to your show, and I loved listening to Aaron Young. And he was just amazing and blown away." And I went back and actually listened to all the other episodes he was on. And she even did a little video testimonial about you in the podcast. And I sent it to you. And then she went online and left a nice 5-star review talking about you. And just, you know, it's fun. And I think that brings a lot of life out of these episodes, is when you know the people you're talking to, you can really ask questions that are not only going to have a bigger impact, but it's really the question beyond the question, you know. We all get probably the same questions when we're being interviewed on other podcasts and things like that. It's nice to be fresh.
Yeah. So for the listeners, you know, a lot of shows. So whether it's terrestrial like radio, if it's TV, or if it's a lot of podcasts, they ask you. They kind of like want to know, what questions do you want to be asked? Like they're saying, we've only got a short time. We want to promote you. You just lead us by the hand. And it's like, well, okay, I mean, I can do that, but then that's a commercial. That's not the same as having a conversation that will hopefully benefit the actual listener and not just me. Mm-hmm. And I'm all about, look, we've been around, you said 40 plus years, 48 years, Laughlin. Me, I've been buying and selling companies 36 years. We know that the way that we grow our businesses is by making something valuable for, in this case, the listener, or if they're watching on YouTube, the viewer, rather than aggrandizing ourselves. It's got to be something useful for them. So I know what we're going to talk about today is something that a lot of people struggle with. And so I think we'll just hopefully inspire somebody to make a difference, because if they'll do what we're going to talk about today, their life will change.
Yeah, that's definitely the truth. When Aaron and I, we've just spent a couple days together, a couple weeks ago in Orlando for the Mass Media Mastermind, which is awesome, and hanging out and having dinner and fellowship and just talking business and life too. But we were talking about, hey, what we're going to discuss today. And I think, one of the big things is people get excited about their product, their service, their business. They're their biggest cheerleader. And you always have a habit of saying, and I love this, that yes, you may be the biggest fan or know your business, but if nobody's going to buy your business or tie into what you're doing, you really don't have a viable solution to making money. Can we agree to that, Aaron?
Yeah. Yes, you probably have heard me say this. People are always asking me, because you know what, we've had some good luck. Over decades, we've succeeded more than we failed. And people say, what's the secret? And I say, well, what makes a business successful? And I always say, well, the first thing is, let's make sure somebody actually wants what you want to sell. Because a lot of people spend an inordinate amount of time and money trying to force feed some product or service or book or podcast or whatever. down the throats of the market, the community. And they go, well, I'm so passionate about it. I want, as a matter of fact, there's a big software company called SAP. And SAP has asked me to write a series of articles. And the first or the second article I'm submitting to them is called Chase Your Profits, Not Your Passion. Because people say, well, I'm passionate about this, or this, this changed my life and I want to change other people's lives. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm so glad you've had a life-changing, life-transforming experience, whether it was something horrible like the death or divorce or illness, or something great like you learned a new thing, or you found a new diet, or you learned a new exercise. Whatever it is, doesn't mean anybody else gives a rip. Okay? And so when you try to force it and nobody responds, you should go, oh, maybe just because I liked it doesn't mean there's a big crowd of people with their money in their hands waiting to give it to me. Yes. So yeah, I believe get passionate about what you're doing, no matter what it is. Figure out how what you're doing that actually makes money is helping other people. Get passionate about that. And then out of your abundance, you can pursue the things you're passionate about.
Such no truer words are spoken,
Long answer, but true story.
Well, but then in today's business society, and this goes for whether you're a real estate investor, you're an entrepreneur of any sort of stuff like that, because we've got a lot of obviously note investors and real estate people here. But I think a lot of people that are coming into doing their own thing from the workforce and things like that, they think about putting something together and launching something, but they don't have success because they rely maybe on social media, or they rely too much on like one thing. Yeah. Oh, hey, I have the best pizza in town. I don't need to market because I have the best pizza in town. Well, if nobody's showing up to eat your pizza, or showing up and knocking on your door, you don't have a business. And so that's what we were talking about a little bit before. Some of the things that people can do to really kind of help them drive their business and go from there, right?
So yeah, so let's go to that. But let me just say, this morning, I said to my wife, I put up a video yesterday that I thought had some really good points. I was trying to give people something useful to think about. And, there were like, I don't know, 30 hits, 30 views, no comments, like 30 likes, 30 views, whatever, but no comments. Well, that's not true. One comment. And I said to her, if I put a picture of one of the grandkids and a goat up on Facebook, I'll get 900 likes. Yeah. But if I say something that's actually kind of not salesy, but business related, useful content, not cute, but useful, you get crickets. And so anybody that believes they're going to explode their business by posting things on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, I'm not saying it won't give you greater exposure to people, but if that's not a linear track to success. Mm-hmm. So yes, use social media to be top of mind. Use social media the same way you would use a billboard along the freeway, where people are probably they don't need a lawyer that minute. They don't need to go to the game that minute. They don't need to come to the sale that minute, but you're making them aware of it. It's just like right behind you, it says the Note Closer Show podcast. So people are seeing that, and if they're watching on YouTube or something, they may watch 20 videos that they like before they go, oh, what was the name of his show? Oh, it's called The Note Closer, because they saw it behind you every time you did a video. So that's the way to use social media, top of mind awareness. But it's not going to drive a ton of sales. And people think that, and this young generation right now, Scott, is they don't want to pick up a phone. They don't want to go out the door. They want to do everything in the safety of their cell phone. And they wonder why they have either no success, marginal success, or flash in the pan success. Like it happens, but it doesn't endure. Mm-hmm. So you were mentioning before we started something you've been doing locally that you hadn't been doing before, but that's making a difference.
Yeah. So Yeah. So going back to what you're talking about, I think going and meeting people and obviously talking with people, whether it is talking with people, actually having a conversation, not a text message, not a social media text back and forth, but actually getting on the phone and talking with somebody or a Zoom call or meeting somebody for coffee is still one of the most valuable things that you can do.
Or leaving the building.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Leaving the building, maybe going to an event where people are at and actually shaking hands. And so the last couple of weeks, I mean, I haven't been traveling that much. I am headed out in a week to speak in Atlanta. But the thing I love doing is that I'm here in Austin. I love this city. There's so much great to do. But I have virtually zero footprint of connections here. I have really no network here in Austin because for the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's always been across the country.
Traveling,
so people,
yeah.
People think, oh, you've got to be connected. I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about. So I wanted to build a better network here locally. And so one of the things that I've been doing, I said, I want to deal with serious entrepreneurs and people that are very serious about their business, people that are going to invest in their business because they're likely to become a client of ours or invest with us or do something with us. And so I was like, okay, who do I need to talk to? And I started thinking back to, I was like, okay, there's a lot of these different meetup groups. I'm like, I don't want to go to a meetup group for the most part. I want to go where serious. So I was like, and I talked about this in an earlier episode about how BNI, Business Networkers International, has been really good. And so I jumped on the website and I pulled up, like I said, 40 plus groups here in Austin that meet in the mornings or for lunches, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and occasionally some on Friday. And so I've just been getting my butt out of bed, rolling out at 7 o'clock, fighting traffic, and literally in Austin, which is it's the worst middle-sized city in the country for traffic.
It's pretty bad traffic.
It's pretty bad. And so luckily there's a lot of groups right around me here that are 10, 15 minute drives, but some have been an hour. So, but what the beautiful thing is I have made over 300 connections in the last 3 weeks.
Wow.
Because I've gone to 3 to 4 group meetings that have anywhere from 60 to 20 to 60 people at it, and just going and networking a little bit early, pressing palms, getting business cards. But doing one more powerful thing is the follow-up with people.
Yeah.
Using social media or some of the tools to really follow up with people, whether it was now what's the beautiful thing is they give you the roster. People are all going, and they go, oh, I got to get business cards. And if you're a guest, you grab the business cards. But most of these groups, 90% of these groups, give you a placemat setting with a person's name, their business, their focus, their phone number, and their email about 75% of the time.
Wow.
And
could they make it any easier?
Exactly. Now, what's sad is I've gone and I've handed out plenty of business cards. I've got people from the groups who have responded to my email because I'll send out a personalized email. I actually took a little bit of time to film a short 1-minute video or a 2-minute video, and I use that as a kind of, hey, it was great meeting at the BNI meeting group, stuff like that. And I'm sending out, and if I don't have an email address, I go through my text messaging service instead of a bulk text message, but it looks like it's personalized to them because I took the time to input their first and last name so it can be personal. And it's led to 15 meetings of people wanting to come in and meet or jump on the phone or talk business in the last 2 months. And so, but other people aren't doing that. And I'm seeing other guests that got my card that I'm not getting phone calls or follow up or anything. And it's just sad.
Oh, I've got a drawer back behind me here in my little, for anybody that's watching on video, I have a guy that I know from high school who takes old teachers' desks and makes them into these little kind of nightstand sort of things. So I've got this thing. I always think I look like I've got my school teacher desk behind me because of the drawers. If you're listening, you won't get the visual. But anyway, so I've got one of those drawers back there full of cards all over my desk, stacks of cards, and mostly a very poor follow-up. We do put them in to an email database. We do send kind of lightweight stuff out to that group to see if we can get them to come join in a deeper way. But it's very, very ineffective without the personal touch. Mm-hmm. My dad, Richard Young, was he was a sales guy for a trucking company. So back in the day, my dad's going to be 80 here. So these companies are no longer in business. But for many years, all the time I'm growing up, he worked for 2 different companies, Transcon Truck Lines and PIE, Pacific Intermountain Express. But it said PIE. That's what I remembered. It was the PIE truck. And my dad was a sales guy for them for his entire career, like 40 years. And he said to me a million times, there's no replacement. There's no, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no alternative, or there's nothing that will do as well as getting out and meeting the people. And you just said going out to these B&I things, you can meet people and shake hands. And in his case, he had to go knock doors and meet the terminal manager and who was in charge of shipping and who do I take out to lunch, right? Because you had to build a personal relationship. That's back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. But we say it now, people work with those that they know, like, and trust. And the way that you get to know, like, and trust another person is to be with them, to break bread with them, to have a cup of coffee or a lunch with them. That's how you do it. And I have somebody that joined my group, you know this group, Scott, the Inner Circle. And this woman joined the Inner Circle, and she had written a book. She had a good corporate career. She's now pushing 60, single, trying to figure out how to stay relevant, stay fresh, go out and do something entrepreneurial. And she called me one day and she said, I don't know, Aaron, I'm beside myself. I've done everything that the gurus have told me to do. I've written a book. I've gone to all these events. I've hired a coach. I've done all these things, but I have no revenue. And I said, well, how many prospective clients are you talking to each day? And she said, well, none. I don't have any prospects. I said, okay, well, how many people, how many targets are you out there trying to talk to make them a prospect? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, well, you have to talk to people. She goes, well, where would I talk to them? I said, do you ever go to the grocery store? She does makeovers, so help you dress for success, mostly women, so change your hair, your makeup, your clothes to fit your personal brand so that you show up like somebody really important just showed up in the room. She goes, well, no, I've never talked to somebody in the grocery store line. How would I do that? Or the bank or the wherever. And I said, she goes, sometimes I don't even leave the house during the day. And I said, well, okay, how about if you did this? You go out, you always look sharp when you go out. So I said, what if you were talking to somebody and you saw them, you said, wow, I love your shoes. Where did you get those shoes? Or your hair is amazing. Who cuts your hair? Or whatever. Whatever is true, ask a question and start the conversation and say, this is what I do for a living. I know what I'm talking about when I say that color is perfect for you. Good for you. Who helped you do that? Oh, yeah, what I do is I help people make sure that everything in their wardrobe gets them, noticed every time. I have a free thing you can download. Would you be interested in that? Let me get your card. I'll send it to you. I said, all you have to do is start doing it. She goes, well, I'd be too afraid. So we rehearsed the words. And I said, I want you to talk to 10 unique people live every day. I don't even leave the house. Well, you have to leave the house then.
Yep.
Guess what happened? She started selling her product because she talked to people, because she complimented them, because she sent them something useful and free. And they're like, oh, that's cool. And maybe if you talk to 30 people, one of them will buy your $5,000 full meal deal. Can you live on $5,000 a month? Well, yes, I can. Well, if you talk to 10 people a day and, you talk to 50 people a week, you talk to 200 people a month, and out of that 200, you get 6 people to pay you $5,000, cha-ching, now you're successful, right? But
That's
you gotta go freaking see the people.
Now, one of the things that I love the best, Aaron, is you are a master of this. and you and I go places together. And one of the most interesting stories
We're not
I want to
shy.
share is 2 Decembers ago, we were in Disneyland. We jumped on the monorail at the Poly, you, me, and Steph or something, going to an event or something, going to Epcot or some show like that for a dessert party. And you started talking to this family, a mother and her daughter, both wearing ears and something on their shirt. I remember what it was. You struck up a conversation with those 2 people. And that has developed into something over a couple of years because you just stayed in contact. But you started off by asking what they were doing. And it was a very, I don't want to take any more of the thunder. I'm going to let you tell the story.
No. Well, that's an interesting story that you would bring that up. And it's really sweet because she and I messaged on Facebook this morning.
Oh, wow.
But you invited me to come speak at something that was there at Disney. We went to that candlelight processional. You and I were walking together. We went to line up in this enormous line for that thing that Whoopi Goldberg
That's right.
hosted, right? And you were leading all of your participants, but I was standing with you. So you turned backwards to talk to the guests, and I looked to the person in front of me, who is this nice woman in her 20s and her mom. And we just started visiting, and they were Disney nuts like me. She had graduated from Duke University and was working for Abercrombie and Fitch and wasn't really happy in the way her career was going.
Yep.
And we started talking. And then when the line started to move 40 minutes later, that was the end of it. We didn't see each other again. The next night at the Magic Kingdom, at 1 o'clock in the morning, after shopping and closing the park down, we got on the monorail. Here's the weird thing, everybody. Fate is freaking weird. So we got on the monorail, you, me, and Steph, and it smelled really bad. And somebody left a dirty diaper in that car. So we got out and went to the next car, and there was nobody in the car, you, me, Steph, and a father, mother, and this 20-some-year-old daughter, the woman and the daughter that we'd met the night before at a different park. What are the freaking odds of ending up in the same monorail car at a different park at 1 o'clock in the morning on a different day? Unbelievable odds. The dad actually, because I'd given the daughter a lot of career suggestions. And the dad said to me after we landed at the Polynesian and we're walking out, he grabbed me and pulled me back. I thought he was going to reprimand me for being a 53-year-old man talking to his 24-year-old daughter, single daughter. Instead, what he said was, I've always told my kids, be open, be friendly, have conversations with people. You never know who you're going to meet. He said, we Googled you the next day after my wife and daughter met you, and found out that you own these companies, that you do all these things that we do. And we were blown away. And he said, I just want to thank you as a dad because you provided proof to my daughter that the advice I'd given her all these years could introduce her to somebody who could help in her career. So we started texting and emailing after that. And she quit her job at Abercrombie. And she applied for a new job out here. They were back east. And they applied up in Seattle, and she got a job at Nordstrom as a buyer. That's and right. We stayed in touch. And then she invited me to her wedding. And then she sent me a text that said, we just bought land to buy a house. And then she just sent me a picture and said, look at our new puppy. But the point is, she's kept me informed on every part of her life and asked for counsel on every part of her career since the day we stood in line at Epcot. Mm-hmm. And it's become this cross-country friendship with a very interesting girl who's married to an interesting guy who's in a senior job at Amazon. She's a senior person at Nordstrom and doing things and taking risks. She decided that she was a good Pilates person. And I said, why don't you teach classes? And she said, I just like to do it. I said, would you like to earn some extra money? She goes, I would just like to teach. So she's now teaching multiple classes a week at a place near her home. These are just little things where your life can be altered by a chance meeting if you open your mouth.
That's such a truth. I was just thinking of a story when I was a young kid on a recruiting trip in high school. This has been a relationship that's now 20 plus years. Recruiting trip to East Texas State University in my football, when they recruited me to play football there back in the day. Go there. If there's a game going on, I'm sitting on the sidelines, I'm talking to people, and there's this older guy, short little guy talking there, and we get to talking about football, and I said, oh, did you used to play? He goes, oh, I played here back years ago, and, you know, when you were probably born, it was the year 77, and I hold her, so we got to visit talking. He goes, where are you from? And I go, I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas. And he's like, oh, well, if you ever get out of school, need a job, I run Durham Transportation, which is this nationwide school busing company all across the country. If you ever need a job, feel free to reach out to me. And so a year goes by. I still, just touched base with him. He kept up what I was doing that year, and I reached out for him. He immediately called me back. He's like, if you go in tomorrow and talk to this guy, they have a job waiting for you. He totally created a whole job for me. Okay.
Wow.
So they're paid for a year of school. I thanked him. You just kept in touch with him. I transferred universities, but stayed in touch. He sent me a graduation gift when I graduated college back in 2001. We still communicate every once in a while via social. He's getting a little older and on, but it's just been a guy that I reach out to every once in a while just to talk with. And it's just, you never know where it's like. He's like, oh, if you ever get tired of what you're doing, I'd love to bring you aboard. I'm like, I don't think you can afford me, but anyway. But that all comes from conversations. And that's what I want people out there to think about. It's all about getting yourself up and actually opening your mouth and telling people what you do, and then listening to them, and then really communicating, and then spreading the network really one person at a time a lot of times.
And then the second part to that is have something worthwhile to say.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, so you and I meet a lot of people, and especially as speakers, and also people that people perceive as being potential affiliate partners with, or they'd like us to invest in something they're doing, or whatever. You have a certain image, and people come to you for things. A lot of times when I meet somebody, they'll kick in for the first time. They'll kick into all this sort of buzzy conversation.
Yeah.
And they're using all these cool buzzwords to describe what they're doing, what the industry is, and usually the more complicated and sophisticated the words they use, the descriptions they give, the more sophisticated it is, the more I think, oh, they probably don't have any money. They're probably starting up. They're probably broke. Why? Because the wealthiest people that I've ever met can describe in very kindergarten level words very, very quickly exactly what they do. I sat down, I met a guy at a very small private conference in Palm Springs one time, and he and I sat together and ate lunch, and he had a personal net worth of a little over $2 billion, but his company was worth over $20 billion. He was a guy probably in his 70s, big guy, big man, kind of John Wayne sort of dude. And I said to him, I know the story that you told earlier, but if we were just meeting right now, here's my question. How did you become so successful? And he said, I made braces for your teeth. I made braces that didn't hurt people's teeth. Now, how simple is that? I was an orthodontist, and I learned how to make braces that didn't hurt people's teeth. Now, the number one provider of braces in the world.
Wow.
Okay. Personally worth over $2 billion. I make braces that don't hurt your teeth. Another guy, billionaire, said, I graduated from UCLA and borrowed some money from my dad to build an apartment complex. And ever since then, I've built about 300,000 doors, meaning units. 300,000. That's how I became a billionaire. I borrowed some money, built my first apartment complex. Now I've built over 3,000 doors.
Awesome.
Okay. That's simple. If you get complicated, people go fuzzy and they quit listening. Is that true?
Oh, it's totally true. It's totally true. You want to keep it it's a whole KISS method. Actually, our number one downloaded episode here is the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
You
Keep
want
it
to talk.
simple.
And I talk with people all the time. They're like, they're way up here. I'm like, listen, no offense. You need to talk to where most of your audience is. And I'm like, well, if I have to lower my intelligence, they're just stupid. I'm like, well, then you're not going to have any clients. You can keep talking above people and be broke, or you can simplify it down and talk in layman's where people can really understand your services, and then go and make money that way. But that's the thing, is people get overcomplicated and stuff like that. When I was a banker, I was one of the top bankers at Chase Bank because I was able to simplify services out. And we would get new financial advisors that roll into, and they would go into this pitch with my clients, my account holders, about the PE ratios and all this stuff, and people just gloss over. And I would literally stop presentations, and I got written up for this one time. Like, no offense, you need to go ahead and leave because you're confusing my client, and a confused mind is a no mind, right?
Yeah, they're always going to say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Always.
And so you want to get that message crystal clear. You want to share what you're doing, do it. But more importantly, ask questions of the other people. I'm always a big believer that if you come from a servant leadership, ask what people are doing. If they really are great people, they're going to turn around and do what? Ask you what you do.
Always.
Yep.
If you show interest in them and they're the kind of person you want to work with, they will reciprocate by asking about you.
Mm-hmm.
And people like to hear the sound of their own voice.
Oh, yeah.
People like to talk about themselves if you can get it out of them. Not everybody is like me, like put a nickel in me, I'll just keep going, right? But most people like you to ask them questions and they will answer. And so it's very critical, as you say, to keep it simple and to make it always about them. Not here's what I can do for you, but what is it you want? Oh, we have an answer for that. Oh, you want to earn more interest? Here we have this. Oh, you want greater access to your money? We have this different thing. Oh, you need to have a line of credit to do this? We have several kinds. Do you want it secured or unsecured? Do you want it bigger or smaller? If you ask questions, they'll walk themselves right into what you have to sell, as long as it's going to be valuable for them. Mm-hmm. And the last thing we want to do is sell something to a person and they don't end up wanting it, because then they're going to say negative things. They're going to want their money back. They become a headache. We want to give people what they need, not more, not less, just serve them in an honest way. And then they'll stay our client forever. Forever. I love the definition. One of the definitions in Webster's dictionary under client says, I love this one. It says client, one who is under the protection of another. So my job isn't to get everything I can out of my client. My job is to protect my client. And if I protect them and help them get to where they want to go, they will be delighted to, give me a tip on, they're going to say, thank you very much. And they're going to reward me with money and with word of mouth. And you just struggle to get that in any meaningful way in a digital format.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing that I see people popping up is it's the sell, or buy. And that's why I think the power of Gary Vaynerchuk's book a few years ago, a jab, right hook, comes in so handy, because you got to give and ask questions and give before you expect to get. And that's the thing is, I always like to try to refer people out as best as I can, like, hey, I think you'll be a great fit here with this person. Go, let's connect the two of you guys together. Or, you need to talk to this person. Let's connect you with this together, because I think there's some corresponding or cross-referencing businesses that can help each other with stuff like that. And in turn, people then give back to us because we're able to help them out and expand their business and do other things.
Exactly. When they see that you're concerned about them, this was made famous in the original Miracle on 34th Street when the Santa Claus starts referring to people at Macy's to Gimbals, their main competitor. Oh, the price is better on that toy at Gimbals. You should go buy it there. Yep. And the marketing department freaked out. But Mr. Macy said, no, this is perfect. We're being honest with the customer. Now, we can redo our pricing, but if we put our customers' ads out and say, yes, we have it, but you might be able to save a little bit if you go to the neighbor, then you take away the doubt. You take away I wonder if it's cheaper at Gimbals. Maybe I'll go check there before I buy at Macy's. If you let them know, maybe they'll go to somebody else, or maybe they'll go, wow, this person has been honest with me. They've considered my needs over their own. That's who I want to work with. That's who I want to be with. I trust them now. I know, like, and trust them. And I'm going to do more with that individual. We pride ourselves at Laughlin Associates on, as I said a minute ago, selling. We don't want to undersell and leave them, not protected. But we also don't want to oversell and then have them wonder, why am I paying for all this stuff? Or what does all this do? I want my customers to have exactly the right thing. No more, no less, just exactly what they need for this moment in their business. And as they grow or shrink, we will adjust appropriately. But if we give them what they need, there's a reason our renewals rub right up against 90% year after year. The reason is because the customer knows why they have what they have, they're using what they have, and they know what next steps are if they hit new milestones. And so, hooray. That's how you take good care of people. You give them an honest information, honest service. You talk to them. We have high tech. There's a way we can service tens of thousands of clients. But we just had this conversation in a meeting the other day. We talked about, well, there's a way that we could, here's what the actual experiences we're having with clients. This is how often we're actually getting on the phone. This is how often we're actually doing a deep dive into providing services for them. So why don't we change the program to fit what's actually happening? And I said, I think it's great if we say this is our preferred protocol. But if we all of a sudden stop making the phone calls to the clients every month, if we stop sending the monthly questionnaires, if we stop having a regular, predictable, and not spread out by 3 months, which can be a lifetime, as long as we keep the high touch, I'm okay with relying on our technology to do more of the heavy lifting. Mm-hmm. But as soon as we go away from high touch and depend only on technology, we will see our renewal rates fall into the toilet. Because people, even if they're busy, we want them to know we're here when you're ready. And they've already bought. We're not selling, we're serving now. And I want them to know we're here whenever you need us. Mm-hmm. We're ready.
And that's a beautiful thing. It's the high touch aspect, following up what Debbie and the whole team of there does on a regular basis. Hey, what's going on in your business? Let's help you make sure. Oh, do we need a disclosure there to make sure your books are up to date? And that's the big thing. You've got in 2 weeks from the time that we're recording this, basically, actually 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today or a week from today. I'm trying to think here. 2 weeks from today is the kickoff of Magnifier Wealth Summit in San Diego. You get 125, 130 people coming to it. And that's the beauty of your event out there that you host twice a year for those that are interested. That it's that high touch of being able to communicate and touch base with all the other professionals, the accountants, the attorneys, the estate planners, the CEOs, the CFOs, the things like that.
The and financial, the investment guys.
Investment guys as well too, to see what is options for you, but also make sure that people do the right thing and aren't putting more on their plate or more than what they need to protect themselves. And I have seen firsthand witness of people coming into the event who think they need this huge, big entity set up and stuff like that. And your team like, whoa, wait a second. You don't need that right now. That's overkill. Let's work you into that, but let's protect you where you're at now and then build something out. Let's not, hey, you don't need an atom bomb when you just need a fly swatter.
That's right. Thank you for saying that, because it would be disingenuous if I said it, but it's a big deal in our culture to just figure out what somebody needs. The reason we do what we do at that event, and the reason we limit the number of people who can come, is because we know that business owners may go casually talk to a lawyer about something, and then 6 weeks later or 3 months later, they are in a conversation with a financial, maybe an accountant or a financial planner. And then later they're talking to Scott Carson about non-performing debt. And then later they're talking to somebody else about Facebook ads, and they're getting all these little dribbles of information, but there's no context. There's no holistic way of putting a plan together. And we thought if we could bring all the legal, accounting, financial, investment, a little bit of personal development, a little coaching, podcasting, all these things. We have Tracy Hazard is going to be talking about podcasting, but I've also got a multi-New York Times bestselling author who is the branding specialist for Entrepreneur Magazine. She's going to come and talk just for 15 minutes about understanding and creating a personal brand so that you are showing up in a way that makes sense to the world, right? In addition to, C Corp versus LLC and corporate compliance and how to grow a company that is bigger than you and how to invest in oil and gas or non-performing debt or turnkey real estate or self-directing your IRA or trusts, domestic and international trusts, foundations, employee stock option trusts. I mean, we talk about all kinds of stuff, but if I say all those words, your listeners already zone me out because they're like, I don't know what the hell that stuff is, right? But when you're in one place and you hear it in a logical way, and then you sit down privately with multiple experts and put together a plan, that's the ultimate meeting the people, getting to know them, listening to them, and then helping provide precisely what they want, not what you're trying to say, one size fits all, run to the back of the room and buy my program. This is saying, let's tailor make the exact right thing for you. We only do it twice a year in that format in San Diego at Magnify Your Wealth Summit. But we do it every day at the office where we get the right people on the phone and get a plan built. And soon, not yet, but in a few months, I'll have something, if and when you have me back on in a few months, I'm going to have something really cool to explain how I'm trying to throw jet fuel on what we've been doing great for 48 years, how we're going to just expand and enrich the experience. But I can't tell you yet. It's a big secret.
Big secret.
But we'll talk about it after the first of the year.
Well, that's the beautiful thing is that you've got some expansion plans and some great stuff that are really great for people. And that's why I wanted to bring you're on monthly. We're glad to have you on monthly. As long as you want to be coming on monthly, definitely a good thing because I think it's a valuable asset. Besides just the nuts and bolts of nut investing, is the business side of things, the foundation side of things. That we always talk about how if you begin with the end in mind and where you want to grow to, you still got to put a good foundation in place. And for those of you that are listening that maybe don't have an entity or are looking to start something, a really great resource that we've never talked about is the Laughlin USA YouTube channel that Aaron has done a great job of filming a ton of videos, a ton of intro stuff onto entities and things like that. It's a great place to learn. I wouldn't necessarily try to, as he just said, not one size fits all. Everybody's got their own custom thing, but take an opportunity to go there. Tons of great videos with a ton of views. Subscribe. I would like to see, if you're listening to this before the end of the year, we helped Aaron grow that from 444 subscribers to over 500 subscribers by the year out, if you're listening. That's a personal challenge because I know a lot of people need to see what Aaron is sharing in there, and you'll understand from not only hearing him on to all these podcasts he's been on with me once a month, but also seeing that he's truly got a big heart to helping you succeed and does a great job teaching that. And I think there's a lot of confusion out there, what people think they need, what will work for them, a DBA versus an LLC or an S Corp, and all that stuff there. There's so much great stuff on the YouTube channel. It's Laughlin USA is the YouTube channel. So check it out. Also, please, please, please do yourself a favor and check out the Unshackled Owner podcast that Aaron is the host of. It just does a great job. Plus, you're interviewing some of your inner circle members, some of your coaching students and clients on there as well, too, Aaron. So just great stuff to subscribe to and listen to if you've got some free time.
Yeah, thank you, Scott, and thanks for that. Yeah, it's interesting to me because there are videos on there have many thousands of views, but our subscribers are low, and I think we haven't really done a great job of promoting that it even is there. So that means a lot to me. But you're always a great example of how to use multiple platforms to reach more people. And for those that want, so I put out a video recently where I invited people to private message me on Facebook after they watched a video, and it's on YouTube and it's on Facebook and probably LinkedIn as well. But I said, just private message me, and if I can help you, I will. Well, the interesting thing is I get a lot of requests for connection that way from kind of far away, not the people that I'm normally seeing. Like even if I'm not even like I'm in London at least once a year giving speeches, right? I just got invited to go to Oxford University and go speak. I'm super excited for that. But when I'm hearing from people in Romania, or I'm hearing from people in the Czech Republic, or I'm hearing from people in Spain, or from Argentina, or from the Emirates. I mean, that always blows my mind that comes in. But you know what they want? They want to get away from the video and they want to have a conversation.
Yep.
And so it goes right back to the theme of this show today, which is get out and meet the people. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Or keep it simple, sweetheart. But if we use that KISS method to say simply, remember, I make braces that don't hurt people's teeth. Keep it simple. And you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed at the contacts you can make, the business you'll get, the relationships that will last for years, as we've discussed, by having a good, simple, human interaction. Have a conversation with somebody.
And that's what it's all about, is those conversations. The masses to getting to those one-on-one conversations. So I'd love to challenge everybody out there that's listening to this is take a look at how many one-on-one conversations you've had in the past week or the past 30 days and start tracking that in 2020. Are you having one-on-one conversations on a daily basis? Because I guarantee when you look at that, you'll see a completely exponential growth in your business if you start tracking that. How many conversations with new people are you having on a weekly basis? How many times, as some of my friends say, how many pitches did you give this week? And I don't mean going out and pitching stuff, but just having conversations to share what you're doing, whether it is in front of 30 people at a BNI group or it's out talking to people on the monorail at 1 o'clock in the morning. Sober people at 1 o'clock in the morning for the most part. You'll be amazed at what that leads to in long term and how you can expand your network, really one quality person at a time.
Yeah. Hey, great conversation, Scott.
As always, man. Same here, Aaron. I absolutely love visiting with you. Give Michelle a big hug for me. You guys have big plans for Halloween with the little ones?
Yeah. We're actually leaving for Cabo in the morning for a couple of days to give a talk. And then with four, we have 4 children and 4 grandchildren, 2 more on the way by the 1st of February. And so Halloween is always a big deal. So we'll be trick-or-treating. We'll be doing the little march down Main Street in our little city here to go hit all the businesses. It's a big day. It's something we love fall here in the Northwest. So,
well, I look forward to the photos and we'll talk to you. I guess I'll talk to you after Magnify Your Wealth. Definitely.
I'll look forward to that, my friend.
Thanks, man. Thank you for always being a guest here and also everything you do.
A pleasure. See you, Scott.
you later. All right, guys and gals, and those folks out in Note Nation, like we mentioned before, there, go do something, challenge yourself, take the opportunity, go subscribe to Laughlin USA on YouTube. Help me hit that goal there. It's a personal goal. I challenge myself to help our people that are on here, and I really want to help that because I think it's such great, valuable information out there. So go do that. Hey, if you're always interested in a more intense conversation with somebody at Laughlin, you can always check out the corpveilprotection.com and reach out to somebody there or via phone on that website, corpveilprotection.com. But guys, go do something. Take some action. We're coming to the end of October when this is recorded. There's less than 2 months left in 2019. The year is going to be gone. Really less than just over a month of business days when you start thinking of holidays and vacation and stuff like that. So take advantage of this last 60 days in 2019. Make something happen and help 2020 be even better than it was before. So go out, take action, and we'll see you all at the top, everybody.